Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to the hopeful elect that is pushing this word in the four corners, the highways and byways. Once again, all praises, glory, and honor is due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. This is brother Zakaria here with another lesson. All right, and this is gonna be a quick and simple lesson on basically the brother from GMS Born Again, priest Shemaiah one did a video on you know the Israelites in India and so-called East India. All right, and this is going to be a follow-up lesson to show that there are actually Israelites in India, you know, all right, because the Most High promised that He would scatter us throughout all the nations, all right, and so I'm gonna start with a precept. This is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 64. It says, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people," right, among all people. So they include um, the East Indians too. See, because they are a people. All right. It says from one end of the earth even onto the other. So so wherever there are people upon this earth, there are Israelites there. You see, it says, "And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known." Right. So we can even uh, pick up the customs of these people. All right. So, there's a lot of jigs out there in East India. All right. And amongst all these other, people as well, the Pakistani so-called, you know, the Iranians, Somalis, among everyone. All right. But and just stick to the point. It says, yeah, and the point is, Israelites among these so-called East Africans, right? It says, "Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." All right. So with that, going to some brief lesson, brief history on on Jakes dwelling among these so-called East Indians. All right. Now this is a article here from the IndianExpress.com. All right. It says the title is African Rulers of India, that that part of our history which we chose to forget. All right. So I'm guessing this is a so-called East Indian that wrote this article. All right. And what she's basically saying, as you can see, her name is right there. Uh, Adrija Roy Chodahuri. It could be a Jake too. But the point is, it's saying that this is a part of the East Indian history that they choose to forget. You know, also called Negroes used to fight in the armies, and had great positions in India. All right, so I just read a few things here and there. Okay, and just for edification's sake. All right, it says when your family has been ruling for hundreds of years, people still call you by the title of Nawab. All right. Now this this also goes into another curse that would have befall the children of Israel. Thou shalt be a proverb and a byword. All right. So here is it that she's saying that, even, hey, even though these people accumulated great riches, Salakia, and positions in the Elamite Empire, they're still being called by this word, Nawab. You see? All right, let me see if I could get the curse real quick. Yeah, Salakia. It's 38. Yeah, 37. It says, and thou shall be an astonishment and a proverb and a byword amongst all the nations, whither Yahweh shall lead thee. All right. So yeah, so those are another one of the curse that you know that befall the children of Israel, that they will always be called, you know, these bywords until the kingdom is restored again. All right, and just to show you that these people are Israelites. All right. Now today they don't look anything like their descendants. They don't look anything like Israelites. All right, anything like so-called Negroes or Latinos or Native American, but the father seed, all right, that was sown among these Elamite women, and that continued for generations and generations. Now they're looking like uh, a full out Elamite, all right, or a full so-called East Indian. Okay, let me just get the definition for proverb right quick. Yeah, Salakia, but you brothers, get the point. All right, the proverbs is talking about so-called call names, or you know slang words, however you want to put it. But yeah, let me just continue on the article. It says Nawab Reza Khan, 10th Nawab of Sachin, as he traces his family's regal history. All right, so Sachin is like the province where most of these people live. All right, and yeah, even dog goes to show that they're Jakes. All right. Now, when you scroll down, what you're gonna see is that you see these don't really look like Jakes. All right. Even more recent pictures. Look at this. You see, these are Israelites. All right. Now, there gonna be cases where some Elamites, they can't trace the heritage back to these people or to any sort of Israelite, known Israelite background, but they still could be an Israelite. All right, you know, not because you're a so-called East Indian and you're not of these people, all right? The no Nawabs doesn't mean that you're not an Israelite, okay? Because there are other um, so-called Negroes that settle in India as well. And in some cases, you just can cannot trace the lineage. But once the word cleave to you, then you're Israelite. Okay? Because this thing is all about, the spirit. All right. Let me just continue a little bit more in the article. He says, Salakia, Riza Khan currently works as a lawyer and lives in the city of Sachin in Gujarat. He says his ancestors came from Abyssinia, present-day Ethiopia, in East Africa, as part of the forces of Babur. All right, and right here, not because it says, the he came from Ethiopia, meaning it was Ethiopian. It was Israelites. You see, because the curse was put upon Israel, all right, and not the Ethiopians, all right, and Ethiopians wouldn't have been able to accomplish anything that these people accomplish. You see, and they wouldn't call them Nawabs if there was Ethiopians. They will just call them by their name. You see, all right. It says the Nawab of Sachin is a personified remnant, you see, remnant of a glorious African past in India. All right. So what happened is that a lot of these people settled in Sachin. All right, which I'm guessing is like a city in a state. All right, but they're but like it says right here, right, a remnant, which means that there are others out there, all right, whose lineage is gonna go back to these people, but they just can't trace it. Okay, and it says Africans have for centuries been a part of Indian society, all right, which we're not Africans, we're we're Israelites. Okay, and it says, but yeah, all this information is really good, right? And yeah, let me just get this scripture, to further prove that these are Israelites. See, Slakia, Salakia. What was it? Yeah, yeah, Salakia. This is actually the first time using the blue letter online. All right, but nevertheless, precept is Isaiah 11, 11, and I read from verse 11. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day Yeah, can. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush. All right, Cush. This is talking about Ethiopia. All right. So these so-called Ethiopians and Somalians, they are Cush. All right. So there are Israelites amongst these Ethiopians even to this day. You see, and that's why they brought them from Ethiopia because when we fled um, Jerusalem in 70 AD, we went to all parts of the world, all right, mostly in so-called Africa, all right, and some Jakes settled in Ethiopia, all right. That's why you know uh, Ethiopia got such a large so-called Jewish community, all right, which most of them, the Ethiopians, all right, the Cushites, they converted to keeping our custom. That doesn't make them an Israelite, all right? It does make them Jewish, all right? But it doesn't make them an Israelite, okay? But yeah, the point is that they're Israelites among Cush, and that's why most of these men that went to India was actually taken from Ethiopia, all right? And it says here too, and from Elam, all right? So there's definitely Jakes amongst Elam. And where's Elam? All right, where the majority of the Elamites dwell is in so-called India. Okay, so there are Jakes in India. All right, and a lot of them is not going to be able to trace the genealogy or look like a so-called Negro, Latino, or Hispanic, but they will be an Israelite. See, you just got to believe it. All right. All right, so I have another article here, and this is from BBC.com. All right, which we all know, BBC, these type of news outlets is just put out, part of the truth or how much of the truth that they want to put out. But this is a pretty accurate article. All right, it says Africans in India, from slave to reformers and rulers. All right, so once again, we're not Africans, all right? We're the children of Israel, all right? And simply by, you know, we getting all these so-called call names, the proof that we are the children of Israel, all right? So it says India and Africa have a shared history in trade, music, religion, art, and architecture. But the historical link between these two diverse regions are rarely discussed, right? Yeah, like it's not really, no one don't really speak on it. Like when you see all these so-called scholars, you know, these black historians, so-called, they don't bring this information out. You see, the men of GMS, we bring this information out, and we tell the people that about their true identity. All right. It says many Africans traveled to India as slaves and traders, but eventually settled down to play an important role in India's history of kingdom, conquest, and war. All right. Yeah, because a lot of these so-called, you know, African slaves were male, and they came in to fight in the army. All right, and to protect the queens and the princes of this land. All right. And those men, they had kids with with Elamite women, all right, with so-called East Indian women, all right. And once it continue for generations and generations, you can get what I showed before, something looking like an Israelite that looks like this, all right, because these are Israelites. You see, all right. It says some of them, like Malik Anbar in Ahmadnagar in western India, went to become important rulers and military strategists. Um, Ambar was known for taking on powerful Mongol rulers of northern India. All right. All right. It says Abyssinians, also known as Abyss in India, mostly came from the Horn of Africa to the subcontinent. Doc- Dr. Silviani A. Diouf of the Schomburg Center says Africans were successful in India because of their military prowess and administrative skills, right? And those show that they're jigs, all right? Because nobody could get down like jigs, all right? You know, because what our name means, Yashar Allah, Prince of the Power, you see? And those where the military prowess come from, all right? Because what the scriptures say, the Mosai is a man of war. You see, so if he had sons, wouldn't they be men of war too? You see, all right. African men were employed in specialized jobs as soldiers, palace bodyguards, or bodyguards. They were able to raise through the ranks, becoming general, admirals, and administrators, she says, right? And this is something that is consistent throughout, Jake history. All right. Any kingdom, we get into, eventually, we will take the kingdom over. You see, and had sex with those nation women and make kids that don't necessarily look like an Israelite. All right. It says early evidence suggests that Africans, all right, which were not Africans, were Israelites, came to India as early as 4th century, but they really flourished as traders, artists, rulers, architects, and reformers between 14th century and 17th century, he says. You see, so from the 14th century to 17th century, there's a lot of years, all right, and a lot of seed mingling, all right. So some, there's definitely a lot of, Israelites in East India, all right. It says, all right, let me just go down, get some more meat. Yeah, got some more meat right down here. All right, so this is a picture of a Jake. All right, all right. So it says here in 1904, picture taken in Hyderabad in the Deccan region, African guards are seen escorting a royal procession, right? Like, if you look at some of these guys, you see that they look straight up like a so-called Negro. like this guy right here, right? However, if you come across and you look at this guy, he doesn't really look, you know, of a Negroid feature. He look more like a so-called East Indian, all right? And these are all supposed to be, so-called Nawabs, all right, or African bodyguards. You see, all right, all right. So, this is another prime example, all right, of what these people descendants look like today. You see, let's read it right here. It says, this painting shows Nawab Sidi Haidar Khan of Sachin, the African ruled state of Sachin was established in 1791 in Gujarat, right? Which means that Jay got their own little thing going, their own rulership and power structure had it set up in 1971, all right? And this is supposed to be a descendant of, of those people, all right? And as you could see here, he doesn't look anything like those people, all right? His forefather then, came on a ship looking like this, all right? You know, he looks straight up like a so-called East Indian. Salakia, his forefather would have looked straight up like a so-called Negro, all right? Yeah, it says, the African ruled state of Sachin was established in 1791 in Gujarat. It had its own cavalry and a state band that included Africans, its own coats of arms, currency, and stamped paper. In 1948, when the princely states were incorporated into independent India, ceased to exist. Sachin had a population of 26,000, 85% Hindu, and 13% Muslim, explains Dr. The Oath. All right. Now, if we go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 64, right? It says, "Thou shalt serve other gods, all right, which neither thee nor thy father have known." All right. Now, right here is showing that most of these people are Hindu, all right, which means that they picked up the custom of these Elamites. You see, you know, it says, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people." Yeah, so wherever people is, there Israelite there. All right, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy family nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And there's a fulfillment of this curse right here, because when these people went to India, they didn't know anything about Hindu, being an Hindu, but they picked up the custom of these people, took on their gods. They're wearing the garments and all the other stuff. All right, which further proof that they're Israelites. You know, so yeah, we're done. Hopefully this lesson was edifying to the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Makar Kodash. All right, want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone, and sanitation to the awful elect that is pushing this word in the four corners, highways and byways. Once again, all praises, glory, and honor is due to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, and with that, I want to say, Mawat La Babal. Shalom.